In this next movie, we'll move from the options to the layout on the right-hand side of the slideshow module. We'll close the little options twirly there and open the layout. Notice that the layout has a series of sliders, left, right, top, bottom, and they're all in different configurations right now, and that's because we had already created a slideshow in this space and had used a different kind of setup. If I clicked the little Link All button here, they would all be linked together. And if I moved any of them, they would all move together. And you would see that that little space that we're using there, little gridded box there, that's where the image is going to hang out. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to move the image to the left-hand side a little bit and leave some space over here. And this Amanda Cody and this little empty thing, those are some custom text frames that we can put in, and we'll get to those in a minute. This is from the last little slideshow we made for Amanda. But if I turn off the Link All and I start moving some of these sliders around, you can see what happens. If I move the left slider to the right, everything moves to the right. If I move the right slider to the right, everything moves to the left-hand side. And it basically means that all of the images will end up inside this little frame here. Well, you saw when I moved my cursor over this, I could just put the cursor right there and do it the same way. Just click and drag and say, what makes a good amount of space for this whole slideshow to work? Should I have it taller, shorter, longer, wider, whatever? Once you're happy with that, you can move to the next little dialog, which is the overlays. So I'm going to close the layout tab, click on overlays. Now the overlays are where we're going to choose different things like an identity plate. An identity plate is this little click box here, and it says that we can put something in there like, now this was from the last slideshow we did called Commercial Art Final. I don't want to call it Commercial Art Final, I want to call this AP Art or something like that, because that's what this slideshow is all about. So to change that, I move over to my overlays where the identity plate is, and I choose this little down turning arrow right there. It says edit, and if I click, I can actually edit this commercial art setup. It's kind of hard to read there, but if I just start typing, because it's already in blue, I can say AP Art, oops, and this is going to be the year 2012. And you've got some options. You can change the font, you can change the size, etc. You can also use this little guy right here called a graphical identity plate. So if you had something that you created outside of Lightroom, say in Photoshop, that was a particular little logo design or something, you could use that in place of just this regular text. I'm just going to say OK, and you can see that that AP Art 2012 showed up in the place of that other identity plate, which was her Commercial Art Final. So if I click and I drag the corners, I can reduce the size of that, and I can even reduce the opacity of it by taking the slider and dropping this slider down. So maybe it is less noticeable than her name, and I can even change the scale up or down from here as well, up or down. And if I wanted to, I could override the color. I could go choose a different color, click there, click the box, and click in here and change the color of the type, and or even choose some kind of crazy color over here. I don't think I would like to do that, although you never know, it could be crazy. So I'm just going to go back to regular white type, and because we have the opacity down at 32%, it shows up as kind of a soft little edge there. The little box, by the way, is the anchor point. And if I move that, you can watch like a Spider-Man kind of thing there. Wherever that little box gets anchored, that's where this text will show up. So if I left it here, it would appear there in every single slide. So I'm going to move this down to the bottom and just leave it there for now. Next, you've got some options for watermarking, for putting some rating stars on there, and for some text overlays. And we'll get to those in the next movie.